I forgot we're doing that this time. I don't normally have my eyes on the actual monitor displaying the stream, but now that we're using that thing, every single time I'm like, oh, I want to see it again.
Yeah, it
And
looks
then,
like the Ring of Mordor or something.
yeah,
Like,
back to looking at the camera. All right, so as round 6 gets itself straightened out,
mm-hmm.
Justin claims to have some entertaining story, or at least wants to talk about Grand Prix a few years ago that he and I both went to together in Vancouver, which actually Max Kahn, like technology master for NRG Game, was also in attendance. Now, Max,
yeah, I think
just
we
to
were talking
briefly
off
summarize,
air.
briefly summarize Max's portion of the event, which anyone that's been to a Grand Prix with Max can already predict how this is going to go. Max did not make day 2. Anyway, so that was Max's contribution. But
Andy
Justin,
wasn't judging.
yeah, no, he was there to play. But yeah, Justin, yeah. So we went up there for that. We drove across. Did we drive across the border?
Yeah, we flew up to Seattle. So from Los Angeles, took 2 or 2.5 hour flight. Rented a car with I don't even know how many of us there were, probably 6 or 7. Rented a big Suburban and then drove from Seattle up to across the border, Vancouver.
Yeah, that had to be a plan that you came up with, because
yeah,
me planning something would not involve renting a car, I don't think.
Yeah, and especially because like our flight, I think we flew Friday night, so we landed at like 8 p.m. You know, the rental car places closed at 9 p.m. at the airport, and we were just like running over to, we land, we have to get the rental car, pick up the car, and then drive across the border, which like another hour and a half or 2 hours. I don't even remember. But yeah, we were talking off air just kind of about missing Magic tournaments, and I brought up Modern. We didn't necessarily have a ban at that tournament, but there was a breakout deck, which was Death Shadow.
Right. Yeah, and we had that in the bracket. That was the event where Other Leighton won the Grand Prix, right? With the new John Death Shadow deck. Yeah.
Funny story about that car ride. I assembled a couple Tron decks, right? So we're talking to Joe before the tournament. We're like, I think Tron is the best position for the tournament. Me and my friend are going to play the deck. So I go around all week. I'm getting cards from different card shops, buying 2 copies of the deck, right? We get to Seattle. We're driving across the border. I'm flipping through my cards, and I was like, you know what? What if I just play Corey Burkhart's Grace's Control list? What if I just play this Death Shadow deck that I saw online? And I can't make up my mind. We're sitting there in the hotel room. We're talking about cuts and Tron. I think Joe gets, our other friend to make this like revolutionary change to the deck. And I settled on Corey Burkhart's Grixis Control deck. And I lost the first 3 rounds of day 2 and then dropped.
Well, I mean, lots of Magic stories result in losing 3 rounds in a row and dropping from events, whether they're good stories or not. That's a very common experience for many of us, including me, certainly, traveling to events, and then you get to lunch and you're like, why am I here?
Yeah, at least we were in Vancouver, beautiful city.
Yeah, and we got to watch people who already covered themselves in glory add more trophies to their shelf.
Sure.
But,
yeah.
Ours were coming in time eventually. All right, so we're waiting for round 6 to get going here. We've got standings or not standings, but the results from the end of the previous round, which we didn't look at yet. So let's go ahead and put those on the screen if we have them. The round 5 results, and see how things look up. I wonder if people that watch the stream regularly can tell at this point that, like, when my words just come slower, it's when I'm waiting for production to put something on the screen.
Yeah,
and I'm
waiting for a slide.
I don't want to start a new conversation. I'm just, going to give them some time to finish what they're doing. And it doesn't always work, and sometimes it looks like a complete fool, like right now. But usually it ends up working somewhat smoothly. But yeah, I mean, and then sometimes, I mean, it's just, I want to circulate hate mail addresses like, NormanCohenIsTerrible.com or something like that, where people can send in mail to join me in complaining about the current moment of production quality, which has to end soon. All right, if we don't have that, let's put up the, if that's not ready yet because the computer's still calculating things, let's put up the bracket if we have it.
Sure. I think the second half of your hate mail campaign, Joe, you have to make the email address. So you can't just tell someone, to email this address that doesn't exist. You have to make the inbox.
All right, all right. Well, we'll have that be a project for next time. Besides, I don't actually. It's unclear to me because I take great joy in making light of like production failures, but I'm not sure that producers themselves enjoy it.
Sure.
So, um, anyway,
So I'm gonna
story
say we're
on.
gonna go top right,
Yeah,
but this mono blue infect deck, I'm gonna bet that it's 5 colors.
uh, it is sort of, but okay. We'll start with Blue Red Storm on top. So Blue Red Storm versus Mono Blue Infect. This is going to be a fireworks laden matchup, although maybe not as much as the bottom one on the bottom right, but
Sure, and I
Blue Red
actually
Storm.
think that this was a matchup from the first Modern Pro Tour.
That would be certainly a possibility. We have here October
Okay, so not
2012.
this
No,
version.
I think the other one was 2011. But we have here John Finkel, Pro Tour Return to Ravnica with Storm, and this is fully powered Storm. We have Utaxian Probe, we have Seething Song, and we have Pyromancer's Ascension. So we're all set. And this, I believe, Faithless Looting was legal, but Desperate Ravings was the choice.
Yeah, specifically getting up a card,
Yeah.
I think was what put Ravings over the edge. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they both kind of cost 1 mana because you had the Electromancer,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you could do good things with the flashback
Right.
when you didn't have the Past in Flames.
Yeah. So Desperate Ravings was a key card. I remember playing this, and Desperate Ravings was a key card against control decks because it was card advantage, and you could cast and the flashback put you up a card, right?
Right.
So yeah, so two banned cards in this list did a lot of work. I think at least in the early versions of Storm, like this, sideboarding was pretty tricky. It wasn't at all obvious to inexperienced or medium players like myself at the time to figure out when to bring it into the war and so how you actually wanted to run things. But then we have all-time greats like John Finkel who are consistently really enjoying the deck and playing it a lot. And we have Is It Storm in this matchup facing, I believe, Sam Black playing Mono Blue Infect. And this was from the first Pro Tour, the first Modern Pro Tour, third
Right.
place in September 2011. And yeah, this is, I mean, there are only 8 threats in this deck, but there's ways to find them, and they hit really hard.
And we have a lot of cards that are banned, right? We have Ponder, Preordained, Cataxian Probe, Blazing Shoal. This was kind of this first Pro Tour, where we had Preordained, Ponder decks, Rite of Flame, Storm, Mono Blue Infect. It was the inception of the format and kind of just the day one, we can't have this going on, right?
Right.
And we still don't have Ponder and Preordained.
Yeah.
So some other cards. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I remember. I think I remember this event because I remember thinking this wasn't like a tuned version of a deck that existed that showed up and did really well. This was a new thing.
Right. This is
This
brand
Mono
new.
Blue Infect, this Blazing Shoal Infect deck, and I would guess that Blazing Shoals were very, very expensive Saturday or Sunday of this Pro Tour.
Right. Especially from Kamigawa. Right. It just.
Yeah.
I think Disrupting Shoal as well was another card that just. I think when I first started playing Modern, I played a Mono Blue Delver deck, and Disrupting Shoal was like the only card that I didn't want to buy because it was expensive.
Sure. Yeah. So 2 powerhouse decks there. I mean, the Infect deck certainly has greater chances of winning right away.
Right.
I think I would go with the Infect deck. Obviously, the Storm deck super strong also, but
yeah, I think it just depends on player preference, right? There's the creature combo in forms of Infect, and then spell based combo with Blue Red Storm.
Yeah. All right, deck lists are ready for round 6. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. We have Brendan Ross with Bant Spirits against he's been playing against Amulet. But first, we'll look at the Bant Spirits deck. We haven't seen one on camera yet today, but there have certainly been some we've seen in the results pages. I don't know that there's anything unusual here. There is a new card, Realm Walker.
Realm Walker and the Apparition. Both new cards, right?
A couple new things to play with in this deck. Realm Walker naming, obviously that's something that in any tribal deck that can play green, that's Realm Walker might play a role in a number of different things. I mean, I suppose you could splash green and goblins and play it, for example, if you wanted to.
Right. And I mean, Spirits is one of those, tribal decks that actually uses its mana. Like you are an Aether Vial deck, but with Nobles and Collected Company, you're trying to cast spells.
Mhm.
So, the Realm Walkers are particularly powerful in this deck because you can make, 6 mana and start casting 2 spells off the top of your library a turn.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the Amulet deck that Brendan's going to be facing. Ethan King with Amulet Titan. Again, with the change kind of in how the green white Titan decks have kind of on the way out now and returned to without Field of the Dead, and now we have Amulet Titan returning over the last couple weeks or a month. And this deck was kind of a scourge a couple of years ago, and then we haven't seen much of it, and now it's back.
Yeah. Did we get to Summer Bloom yet on our bracket? Did you do that in the morning? That's going to be the last one that we cover, actually. So we will talk about Amulet kind of Unchained, and
that's right. Yeah, Amulet is in. It was in the last bracket left in. It was the last entry left on your bracket, I believe.
Too bad we didn't know we could have talked about it.
Yeah, so poorly timed by us. But anyway, we're moving into round 6 with the Amulet versus Spirits. Spirits keeping double vial. Collected Company probably not being cast anytime soon, but 2 vials is...
Yeah, getting to put it on your 2 favorite numbers, 2 and 3.
Yep. And Amulet, well, Spellcaller is nice disruption for Pact and for Amulet, and I guess for everything that's not Primeval Titan, but Primeval Titan's often the most common card, and that will not be disrupted at all.
Yeah, I think the scariest card, obviously Primeval Titan's going to kill you in 2 turns, kind of like no matter what happens. But the new card, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, very, very problematic for the creature decks. Just because, with Valakut, you're making, 1 or 2 land drops a turn, and you're just bolting every creature that they have.
No, that card made a significant difference in how several of these decks have played in the format. And yeah, it's just the ability to play Valakut without having to have,
mountains,
14 mountains in your deck, even though you could cheat with Shocklands anyway, but not even have to bother cheating is really a boon to the functioning of the decks and the mana bases. I don't think without Dryad you could ever hope to play. You could play Primeval Titan with Valakut, but you could not play Amulet with Valakut. Okay, so land drop missed, but second vial is down. So once those get kicked up a little ways, we'll start to see more development from Brendan.
What do you think, Joe? Do you think that they should errata the Realm Walker to let you vial in cards from the top of your deck?
Oh, that you know what? Sure, why not? That would be exciting. I mean, it lets you play off the top of the deck, and yeah, I mean, how could really Brendan has vials to generate mana to cast the spells. Realm Walker is allowing you to play spells. He can't be punished for not having actual lands in his deck. I mean, that seems unreasonable.
Well, I think that a lot of people are probably going to say we don't need to make Aether Vial stronger.
Yeah, they probably are, but maybe they would say we do need to make Realm Walker stronger.
Sure, I can agree with that.
Because what's going to happen here is Realm Walker is going to get into play, and then all the lands are going to be on top of the deck. It's not going to do anything. In the meantime, start flying over from damage from Brendan's side, and Ethan is not going to be blocking flyers probably at any point in the match unless there's a...
Well, we do have reach. So, over the next couple of turns, we will have a blocker. Didn't want to get rid of the Grazer yet.
Yeah, you're right about that, and I somehow spaced that, despite having played plenty with Arboreal Grazer in Pioneer. But here, ooh. Well, that's nice. That's not the ideal land drop, but
we are going to have access to 6 next turn, and we already have the Slayer Stronghold, so we don't need a tutor for it.
Yeah, so we're definitely getting things ready.
Yeah, and now we have this spell caller that's kind of a blank. Sometimes you love to see your opponent Teleria West, and you're like, oh my goodness, finally I'm going to get to Spell Queller this pact. But he got something else to cost 0. He got a land.
Well, maybe there's another pact. Maybe the Titan's not in hand.
Yeah.
In which case, Brendan will be just fine. Decisions being made on whether or not to file in here. And this, okay, so this is going to allow the Masonic Water to just pump once from the trigger and do an extra damage. But not significant amounts of damage if a Titan actually makes it into play this turn.
Right. And it, okay, well, we got your wish, Joe.
Yeah, so there is Summoner's Pact. Spell Queller can gobble that up, and Ethan will now need access to a second Titan to continue this game.
I guess it's also worth noting there that you could have stymied a turn with the Mausoleum Wanderer, right? We're going to have access to 6 mana, but if you Spell Pierce it, make him pay 2, means the Primeval Titan's not coming down for another turn.
That is definitely true. So here we have Brendan with basically 3 cards that have, just stuck, 2 companies stuck in his hand that almost certainly will not be cast before the game's over one way or the other. But still mounting a reasonable Air Force, and Ethan powerless at the moment to do anything about it.
Another strong one.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see the Spirits deck dispatch Amulet, unless we see something like Primeval Titan. But even then, you're facing lethal damage over the next turn.
Yeah, 7 damage comes through. The blocker dies, and there's 2 more creatures that can be dumped into play. Only one of them has flying, but that is going to be more than enough, as it actually, maybe Ethan doesn't have anything at all. 2 cards left in hand. But you're right. If a Titan's not good enough, it's not likely we can expect Ethan to have something better than a Titan.
Yeah, I'm looking, here, it would be difficult, but we would be able to, if the last 2 cards in hand are Primeval Titan and the Dryad, which doesn't look, okay, yeah, it doesn't look like it is. So this is probably going to get countered by the Wanderer, and it will spell the end of the game.
Yep. So, no?
Okay. Oh, because we get to put in a bounce land and pay.
Okay.
Very cool.
That got rid of a flyer also. So was there 7 damage on the board right now? So a Radiant Fountain would...
Well, you have the Selfless Spirit.
No, yeah. Ethan is not unaware of that, though.
Right.
So Ethan might be thinking, if this works, which it most definitely did not. Yeah, nothing going the way Ethan wants it to this game. And it looks to him like he's going to be able to survive this turn, but we know that he actually is not. And actually, the Realm Walker can attack also because the Tribe Scout actually tapped for its ability.
And it's a changeling, so it does coincidentally get pumped.
That's true.
We're going to see a land on top of the deck, huh? We didn't get to see it.
All right, so that was pretty one-sided, but it all came down to that Summoner's Pact being a Summoner's Pact, not a Primeval Titan. Yep. Otherwise, it would have gone somewhat differently. Let's go ahead and look at the sideboards and see what we have available for help for the rest of the match. First for Brendan Ross, who's up a game. Justin, what do you like here?
Well, I like the Aven Mind Sensor. Amulet's a deck that's very much about tutoring. We saw there the Telerio West used twice, one for Summoner's Pact, one for just a land. So Aven Mind Sensor gonna hopefully put some wrench in the plans for Brendan, and assembling the combo, getting a Primeval Titan into play.
Right.
I don't really think that there is much, I don't love the Force of Negations. Amulet is very much about the creatures that it's casting and the lands mattering, not as much as the spells aren't super important.
Mm-hmm. So no Path to Exile, because I feel like Path to Exile is.
I think that you want the paths because it very good against Dryad and obviously the Titan, but you do care specifically for spirits being creatures about the Valakut side plan B with Dryad.
Yeah, so I definitely think we'll see those 5, like you're saying. Force, I wouldn't be shocked to see it, but right, I agree that it may not come in. All right, let's go ahead and look at what Ethan has to work with. We see a number of cards that are obviously designed for long games against control decks, but a few things here. The removal spells seem like Explosives Dismember. That's a sizable quantity of them, and I think those all seem pretty decent to me.
Yeah, engineered explosives against these tribal decks are just so good. Getting able to snag multiple 2s, especially like the lords, or the payoff creatures being 2 and 3 mana.
Right.
Really helps catch back up.
Yeah, that's going to be great. And then also in some games, for example, last game, Explosives killing both Ether Vials also would have played a pretty significant role.
Definitely.
Or a Hierarch in the Ether Vial. As long if you're getting 2, I don't think you would want to burn any Explosives to kill a single, like either Hierarch or Vial. But if you're getting 2, then I think you would do it. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting for the more expensive stuff, the creatures. Teferi Time Raveler is a card that I felt like conceivably could have been boarded out here.
Yeah, it doesn't really impact much. You want a Summoner's Pact in your main phase, to get the creature immediately and cast it. So I don't, it does pick up a vial or a amulet, but that's so cheap that you're able to just put it down. You're playing the deck at sorcery speed pretty much always.
Yeah.
So we have the first decision of the game here with the Spell Queller, and it seems like it's worth it for Britta to counter. Again, you do want to, if you can, deny the first couple setup turns, because you're worried about your opponent getting to 6 mana.
Right. Yeah, and so the choice, there was certainly options there. Brendan could have gone with Noble Hierarch plus Supreme Phantom. He could have gone with Teferi Time Raveler, but he holds up Spell Queller and gets paid off there. Yeah, picking off Explorer, I mean, this seems completely fine for use of the turn. I'm sure Brendan's fairly happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing to note is that we keep picking up a Castle Garenbrig, and we don't have a forest.
Right.
So every time that is coming into play, it's coming into play on tap, or it's coming into play tapped. So tagging the Explorer means that there's potentially another turn where it's going to come into play tapped, and you're not going to be able to make 6 mana.
Mm-hmm. I guess we're representing Collected Company or not having to fetch a Shockland, but I'm surprised Noble Hierarch didn't come down.
This is the best possible answer to engineered explosives, because even if it dies, the EE comes back with 0 counters on it.
Yeah. This and I mean, I feel like this is probably something that has to happen. And why is this Hierarch not on the board?
Yeah, I think it's just a missight. Potentially we looked at the sideboard plan and saw those EEs, and you weren't really sure. What your plan against it was going to be. I think that having the 2 Hierarchs in play aren't going to be attractive enough for Amulet to try to just kill the 2 mana sources.
I mean, it only costs us 1 damage, but I feel like let's see, is the mana mattering here? I mean, we could play Teferi and Phantom if we had the other Hierarch down.
Right. I do think that the mana matters. And now you have to think about attacking with 1 creature versus 2 versus the Grazer.
Yeah. So now it costs us another damage. So we're definitely down a couple points here as to where we could be at. And what is our plan now?
Yeah, the kind of Delvery-esque disrupt your game plan. We're done with that now.
What do we? So okay. So if we're holding up Rattle Chains here, which it looks like we are, then we could have played Supreme Phantom and then attacked
Well,
with
Rattle
both.
Change is going to give the static ability to let you cast your spirits. So you are going to be able to play both.
Right, but we could have played the Phantom Element and attacked this turn with both Quellers.
Oh, right, and then we get in 3 even through a block. You're right.
Yeah. So that was, I feel like I would have committed that Phantom there, and so now we've given away even more damage. The explosives coming down, that's obviously not great for Brendan. He will be able to develop pretty quickly, and like you're saying, you can drop both the spirits at the end of the turn this turn and still maintain a decent offense despite losing your Quellers, so that's something.
Yeah.
Another consideration, and I'm not saying that I would have done this. In fact, I think it's correct that Brendan did not do it. But if the Teferi come down, like you mentioned before, then the Queller, the Explorer wouldn't have come back after this explosive happened.
Sure.
No, I'm wrong about that, I think. Because the Teferi would have been killed by the explosives. So that would actually wouldn't have netted anything additional for Brendan. So this works out, I guess, as least damaging as it could be. I'm not sure that's even a word, but we'll go with it.
Yeah, I mean, we rebuild in some sense, but not, too well. We can unload the Quellers or the Hierarchs now, and should that happen, we're attacking with one creature, gets chump blocked, and then you have nothing else. So as it stands, we're probably taking 3 or potentially 0. It seems like we're going to attack with like a pretty big Rattle Chains. And if Primeval Titan comes down, we don't have a way to deal with it.
Right. Well, we could bounce it with Teferi once, I guess.
Could bounce it once with Teferi, but it's going to get so much value.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. And yeah, this is an attack for what, 6?
We throw our monkey.
Easily be blocked. Yeah, so this is well, this depends on what Ethan's got going on here, but we'll have to assume with 4 cards in hand, he doesn't, or drawing up to a 5th, he doesn't have nothing, and nothing is really what Brendan needs him to have.
Right. All right, let's see. We do have 6 mana because of the Castle Garenbrig.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose without it as well, but
yeah, we had 6 anyway. But yeah, so here we go with. Okay, so Titan's not in hand, and we're running it up with Turn Timber Symbiosis again. Did not work out last game. It pays off this game.
Yeah, so we haven't really seen the dual-faced cards as it stands kind of make their way into Modern. I think we're going to start. They are very powerful, as we've seen, in Standard and some other formats where Oops All Spells kind of took over. But yeah, this is a land that is, the front side is a spell, and it gives you access to kind of what you need in this deck. Okay, so we do see the forces we're boarded in.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what do we have in the air here? The Grazer is gone, so there's no blocking left. It looks like we have 2, 3, 6.
And that's the same amount of damage if we just attack with one creature. So
yeah, and most crucially, probably, is that 6 is less than half of 15, so Brendan doesn't even have the win next turn. Even with the More Than Haunt token being added in, that is only 2 extra. That's still not enough. So this looks rough. I feel like we have to bounce we can't let the Titan attack us, right?
Yeah, I don't think that it can. Well, the bad thing though, again, we have the Slayer Stronghold now, so we bounce, and it's not really even going to do anything.
Okay. I still think we have to do it. I mean, it still costs our opponent 6 mana. That we don't need them playing a second Titan or some other kind of. I guess the chance of them having a Titan is really low since they would have played it last turn instead of playing the Symbiosis. But well, we'll just see. At least this prevents drawing a Dry Illusion Grove and playing it in addition to the Titan.
Right. And having
And
the
attacking. So
Valakut.
we're still having. Oh, okay. Well, we still do quite a bit. Actually, we're pretty wrecked. It looks like.
Depending on what lands are in hand.
Yeah.
We like to see the Titan, anyways.
Yeah. Oh, I think we will. I think it won't be able to attack. But
you are going to start bolting some stuff.
Yeah, we're just going to annihilate the board here.
And that will copy.
Yeah, that's gonna. Well, that'll be another Valakut, I would imagine.
Yep. So not 6 mana because it is going to come into play tapped, but 2 triggers from the Valakut is spelling some doom for sure. It would be less of an issue if we were a little bit more spread. The nice thing here, we do have 3 hierarchs. So we are, the one remaining creature is going to attack for 4 damage.
Sure, but it's gonna be more than Han token. Well, I mean, some of the hierarchs might die also.
Yeah, depending on the number of lands in hand.
What are we? We have Primeval Titan that just got bounced though, right? So we're gonna shoot down 4 more things.
3, 4, 5. We only have 5 mana untapped, right?
Do we not? 2, 4. That's 6.
Oh, I'm crazy. All right.
Yeah. So this is 4 more triggers at least. So, I mean, more than Han can make a token, but yeah, this board is getting absolutely crushed. There will be no survivors. I guess Teferi can stick around maybe. Oh, there's another Valakut in the deck. So okay, so 9 triggers. So I believe that's just game ending.
Game over. Yeah.
Okay, so Ethan King is going to tie up the match. This is, I mean, the Amulet can function very quickly. This game was not particularly fast, but Brendan wasn't able to mount enough pressure. Probably gave away a couple points of damage that didn't actually have any impact whatsoever.
Right, with the nobles.
Yeah.
We just saw the power of engineered explosives, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That was a huge setback. And, I mean, Ethan, it was slow to develop because he had to spend a couple turns with defensive cards. The first explosives got snapped up, second one got down and reset things, and there was no recovering in time. We can go ahead and look at the deck list again, see if we get any additional help in sideboarding. I don't know that there's anything much to learn here. We did see the Force of Negations come in, so maybe we can take a second and figure out what
might be missing from spirits. We didn't also worth noting, we didn't see Dismembered. It doesn't mean that it's not in the deck.
We saw both copies of explosives, which obviously was nice to have the second one because the first one got quellered. But let's go and look at the other list if we have a chance. There were Brendan Ross, Bant, Spirits. So we brought in
Forces. We didn't see Path, but presumably Path and Sensor.
Yeah, those presumably came in. So that would be like something in the order of 7 cards, and Teferi stayed in.
Yeah, so I think the Skyclave Apparition is nice against the Dryad and the Amulet, but a lot of times, it's not that they're in play for multiple turns causing you problems. They're just like there and they, do their job and then the game ends.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the Realm Walkers, likely came out because you're not really trying to grind down your opponent. Maybe the Wanderers. It kind of sucks to not. Okay, well, we see a Wanderer in the opening hand, 2 of.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to disagree with you there. That seems like a choice that you could make. Now we're guessing, and we're obviously, trying to anticipate how the sideboarding is going to go. Brendan Ross is going to have more experience with the deck than we do, but we're just throwing out possibilities on what all could come in for those 7 cards. Realm Walker makes sense to me. Also, Realm Walker is probably worse in any sideboard game because just the lower creature density that you have, the less often it's going to hit.
Certainly.
The deck is so full of creatures, almost anytime you're sideboarding, by default, creatures are coming out.
Yeah, I think we were both surprised to see the Teferi still in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
It is a blue card. You when you're boarding in these forces, that is something that you have to be cognizant of.
I wonder if Brendan Ross is primarily an arena player because I feel like I've seen him drag cards. Yeah, he's Yeah.
from the UI. Yeah.
He's repeatedly trying to drag cards into play, which is how Magic Arena lets you play things, but not in Magic Online. And so, given the number of times that's happened just in the last 10 minutes, I think Brendan Ross is
Avid arena player. Yeah.
primarily an arena player. All right, so here we have the Forest picking off an Amulet, which is probably pretty much what it's hoping to do, and leaving Brendan short of cards, but he's probably willing to make that exchange.
Yeah. We're gonna have mana next turn for the Spell Queller. Get to attack for a sizable amount here. It's likely that the Radiant Fountain is going to get picked up next turn, but over the course of the game, probably a couple more times. So we're kind of just racing, the development of Amulet and Ethan King.
Yeah, and yeah, the Spell Queller hopefully pays off. Explosives here is going to be bad, but it can't actually get played off of
the fountain.
Off of the fountain because there's no colored mana. So if there's a Karoo land here or a castle, then this is basically a free turn. And like Ethan could have a second Amulet, I guess, but barring that, yeah, it's basically a turn with no development.
Ooh. So the next crux we're faced with is do we play out this Phantom? I don't think that you do. It's 1 damage.
Okay, that's fine. You could have quellered that. I'm not shocked that we didn't. But yeah, I feel like you cannot play the Phantom there now. It's another. It's not a high impact card we're getting, but yeah, I guess we're definitely doing it.
Yeah, I think
we need an attacker.
We need an attacker, and the way that the game is played out, we kind of know that from Ethan's side, our development has been stymied, and we'll draw another really good card.
Yeah.
But I think the Tribe Scout represents some more development that we want to delay if possible.
Right. No, I agree. I think you definitely grab it because you don't know if there's other opportunities, and you just have to have the attacker on the board. But yeah, drawing another Queller, playing the Phantom would have led to a 3-turn clock, but drawing a second Queller has to be better. And if that gets countered something added to the board, then the clock is also faster. Do you play this? No, okay. So it gets held. That's totally reasonable since it doesn't actually add any additional damage. Because of the double exalted.
Interesting. I think this time if we played the Phantom, we're attacking for lethal.
Mm-hmm. Right, and we do have the mana for the Phantom and the Queller this turn, right. So yeah, you could have played it.
We'll have to see if we have a green source for the castle. We don't.
Do we have anything at all?
Oh. So, maybe a removal spell.
Well,
but Dismember doesn't really seem great here. I mean,
no.
We are preventing the 4 damage from the Queller should it resolve. But we know that there's a Queller to say no.
All right, Ethan King, what do you have for us? Primal Titan is
gonna get turned off. Interesting. We don't actually have, at 2 life, but I can't really think of anything that even saves us. Say that we get a Primeval Titan.
Yeah, because we can't. This 7 damage coming in. There was a second pact. I mean, if there's a Hornet Queen, but we don't look like we have the mana to cast that. Hornet Queen would be great, though.
Right. We need another green source.
Boy, that would be exciting to see here. Land green source plus Hornet Queen.
Yeah, that kind of would remind me of the older versions that had like Hornet Queen and Dragonlord Dramoka.
Yeah, right. It's not even easy for. I guess it's not even easy for the deck to have an actual untapped green source here.
Right. Yeah,
Because
not one that doesn't take
Shocklands
damage.
are off. Karus don't work.
Yeah, it could be a fetch for a basic forest, but that's basically it.
I guess it could be another castle.
Right, we do have a forest in play.
Well, Ethan is giving this some thought. I think if it was green source plus Hornet Queen, it would
have been slammed for sure.
Right, it would have been an easy decision. I don't even know. I didn't look at the sideboard carefully. I don't even know if there's a Hornet Queen in the list, but
there's not. Yeah,
okay.
but we could dream about the days.
Sure. Spoiling my fun. Now, so if that's off the table, what is Ethan?
Like, maybe he's trying to do some math on, the potential of having like a Dryad and playing some lands out of his hand.
Sure.
If he had a bounce land.
Yeah. Okay.
He'd be able to shoot a couple of things.
Yeah, that would work.
But it still leaves you dead, right?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Because you shoot I guess you can see how they attack, but there's not a scenario where.
Right.
Like if they attack with just the Queller, only one. But since they're able to split it over two attackers, I think that this spells the end.
Brendan Ross is my first habitual arena player that I've noticed, and I'm really getting a kick out of him trying to do it every single time.
Drag off, yeah.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be one land drop short for Ethan King.
Yeah, we can't fetch for a Radiant Fountain.
Even if there's a way to survive this at one life, he would still die next turn because he has to tap out tap a lot of mana for the Summoner's Pact and have a hard time recovering from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that match is wrapped up. That actually took us to the end of the round. That was the last match playing. So we don't need to try and entertain you and fail for a few minutes this round. We're just going to take a break and come back for the last round of the Swift.